Hello, today I'm going to show you how to do Judy's magic cast on. So Judy's magic cast on is usually used in taupe socks. These were knitted with the cast on, these were taupe, and they show you don't have a cast on start and finish. It's there, but you just can't tell. It just looks like you've been continuously knitting on the toe. It's such a brilliant cast on. And so I'm going to show you how to do it today. I'm going to use thicker needles and thicker yarn than I would normally, just so you can see things a little bit clearer of what I'm doing. So we're going to start with a slip knot. Now your tail needs to be, you need to use the same length, how many stitches you've got, the tail needs to be able to cover those stitches. But you won't need a really, really long tail. So just have a little guess of how much you're going to need. Once you see this working, you'll be able to guess it a little bit easier. So get yourself a slip knot, and then it's got to be done with a cable needle magic loop, and we're going to hold them together like this. Okay, so you want your tail to the top and your working yarn to the bottom, and slip your slip knot onto the back needle, holding your needles together. Get your slip knot tight, and then just as you've just pulled your slip knot tight, that's how you're going to hold your yarn. So it's kind of like long tail cast on, the way you're holding it. So you want your yarn in your hand, these three fingers around it, and you want your thumb and your finger just pulling them apart into like a triangle type shape. Hold on to your slip knot, and then because our slip knot is our first stitch on the top needle, we're going to put a stitch on the bottom needle. So we need to use the top yarn to get to the bottom needle. So to do that, we're going to bring the needles across and just go have the yarn under the needles, swoop it up and just hook it over just the bottom needle so it slides in between, and that's your second stitch. And then we want one on the top. You have to alternate them. So we're going to use the bottom yarn, bring it around underneath, over the top of the top needle and through the centre, and that's your third stitch. So bottom needle underneath, over the top of that bottom needle and through the centre, and then the top, underneath, over the top and through the centre. So we continue like that until we have enough stitches that your cast on, that your cast on tells you. So I'm going to go for 10. So I've got six stitches, 3 on either side. I want 10 on either side. So if you get confused of which yarn goes where, just remember that the top goes to the bottom and the bottom goes to the top. Keep your tension tight. And also, if you forget which one you've got to do next, if they look like this, just relax a little bit and you'll see which one you did last, so you can work the next one. So I should have 10 on each. 2. Maybe this yarn wasn't the best idea. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Right. Now, as you can see, I've still got a long tail left. Didn't need as much. So you need to keep these secure because obviously it's only wrapping the yarn around. So keep them secure. We need to turn the work very carefully. This is the right side of the work, and how you know that, so this is the side we're going to start on, because how you know that is because the opposite side has purl bumps going across. So we know that we need to start here. So we need to start on this section first. which is alien because you usually start on the one closest to you, but you do have to start on this one, but it will rectify itself. So we're going to pull the needle through and we're going to knit this first stitch. So your tail is here. We're going to hold that. This is the fiddly bit. We're going to hold that to the bottom of the stitch, and the working yarn is going to go across it just to lock it in place. And we knit that first stitch. Keep nice and tight and knit across those back stitches. Okay, and when we get to the end, I'm going to carefully turn, because we're still a bit precarious. Bring your needle through and then pull the other out, and we're going to knit across the other side. So the first one is a slip knot. Now the rest are what you've weaved on, but they've got the left leg facing on the opposite side. So the opposite side, we need to knit it through the back loop to retwist the stitch around. So knitting through the back loop, if your stitch is on the wrong way around, instead of taking it off and putting it on, which can be a little bit faffy, if we knit into the back loop, that just turns the stitch around. So it's got the right leg facing the next time you come to it. So we're going to knit across, but all through the back loop of this, only this second side, just to turn those around. And that's only that row that it will need to do that. Once you come to it again, it'll be the right way. All the right legs will be facing. And there we go. Now we're at the end. Give it a little tug with that tail. And then after that, we have done the work. And there's the cast on in there. Now I do tend to get a little lumpy bit here, and I'm quite an experienced knitter, and I do pull tight. But for some reason, this loop is lumpy, and I've heard that from other experienced knitters as well. So don't worry if you're getting like lumpy bits. On the actual sock, I mean, obviously this is thicker yarn, so it's going to look worse, but there's my lumpy bit. And you really can't notice it that much. And then you just start following the pattern. So you would probably knit one and make one at this point. Just start bringing your toe through. Make sure not to use your tail. We've done that before. So we knit one. And start working the toe. And you just knit as normal from this point on. And that's my kitten. Okay, and there we go. Judy's Magic Cast On. Thanks for watching.